Going on, folks? Out here this evening checking some skateboards I set yesterday, making sure none of these boxes are getting robbed out. Gonna get these in the morning and head home. Probably could have got them today, but wasn't in the plans. And they're all pretty clear. So we're nearing the end of the honey pool for wildflower honey, which means that the flow is over. It's actually been over for us for a while now, a couple weeks at least. Bees are super robby and we're in the dearth, very much in the dearth. No nectar coming in at all. Got a little bit of pollen, but looking out across the landscape, I start to think about what's coming for this fall, because the bees are going to need nutrition. And I always kind of try to see what's coming. So I figured I'd show y'all a little bit of what I'm seeing. So all these tall weeds here, they've all kind of got the curly top. There's a whole bunch of them out there. Here's a little patch here. There's quite a bit of it out in that bottom there. So this is all goldenrod. If y'all watch any beekeeping videos on YouTube, people are always talking about goldenrod in the fall. I don't know if it's got any flower buds coming yet. Probably not. It's probably just leaves. But that's an excellent source of pollen in the fall. And nectar. I think if we have some moisture in the soil, I think it'll give a little nectar flow, which will be good. Pollen is incredibly important for the bees in the fall and in the winter, because that allows them to make more brood up better in the fall to get a good cluster for the winter. And if they have a surplus in their hive, then they can use it earlier to make brood in the late winter next year and early spring to build up faster and stronger. And that's going to mean more splits for me, hopefully build more bees. The earlier they can get started, the better, and without help from me. Pollen patties help, but there's nothing like the real thing. Then here's some ironweed. It's blooming right now. There was a bumblebee. Y'all probably didn't see that. There's a butterfly on one there. Ironweed gives off some nectar, I think, but there's just not very much of it around. And the next thing I'm seeing is broomweed. If y'all don't know what broomweed is, it's this stuff. It'll bloom in the fall, not the late summer, but you have to get on into fall for it to bloom. It's a very woody kind of plant. Right now it's still green, stemmed. Later on it's gonna dry out, be real woody, and then it's gonna have kind of a rounded canopy, and it's going to be all yellow flowers. Just a little bit of it right here, but I've seen it. It's pretty widespread throughout the countryside. I'll probably add a clip of it here, a big old patch of it. It's pretty prolific in the area. Pretty common across ranch land, and one of them things everybody says it's a weed and they don't like it, but if you got bees, it's a very valuable resource. And the third thing I'm seeing around is gumweed. Not sure if that's the real correct name for it, but when I look it up on Google and whatnot, that's what it comes up with. These weeds here, they got these serrated leaves with spines coming off of them. And these here are going to be the flowers. That one's coming out there. It makes a whole bunch of flowers, and it is an excellent pollen source. And there's two varieties of it, I think. That one's about to come open there. There's this variety here, I think, that's kind of tall and slender, skinny. One main branch coming up. And then you got some like this one. It's got more branches. And then there's some that are even more bushier and shorter, but I don't see any of those here. I thought these might have been them, but they're not. Something else. There's another patch of goldenrod over here in this bottom area. Here's a good patch of gumweed. Got some of it just now opening up. This is what the flowers look like. It's not quite open all the way. These are gonna lay all the way down. Bees will get in there. A little bit of pollen. These things make an incredible amount of pollen. The bees will store frames of it off of this stuff. As you can see, there's lots of branches, and each branch has a whole lot of flowers. It does look like a nasty weed, but it's sure good for me. And it likes waste areas like this. I was out here earlier this spring, and all that dead brown stuff out there is yellow sweet clover. So this little spot is producing two plants that are incredibly valuable to my bees. So yeah, this is a good spot here. For sure gonna have some bees here for the fall if I can get them here soon enough after cotton and whatnot. Because to get them off of there, that's the downside of cotton, is there's no pollen flow from it. And usually out in the farm fields like that, there's usually not any good sources of weeds around for pollen. So it's real good for me to get them off of there as soon as I can, to get them back here where they can kind of gather some pollen before the first freeze. And then another little bonus plant, not for the fall but for the spring, that is everywhere everywhere out here is this. If y'all don't know what that is white sweet clover. There's a whole bunch of it out here. Similar to alfalfa, kind of got the same leaves and whatnot. They're both legumes, put nitrogen into the soil, and excellent for honeybees. Now, white sweet clover is a biennial plant, which means it grows 2 years. The first year is its vegetative growth. Like right now, this year, it's just growing vegetatively. That's all it's doing, is establishing itself. And then the second year, which is next year, will be its reproductive year. And that's when it will flower and hopefully produce nectar and hopefully produce me honey. Now the thing is, it's got to survive from now until next spring for us to see the benefit. You know, we could have a ultra dry winter like we have the past 3 years and it could die out. We could have a ultra dry spring and it's not able to come back. Lots of things could go wrong. But it is a heavy nectar producer. Better look at some goldenrod. It's just putting on leaves right now. It'll have yellow tops in it when it's blooming. So yeah, that's about all I got for y'all. It's always good to keep an eye out, be able to tell what's coming in the future for your bees. This is going to be an excellent spot for this fall and next spring if this clover can make it. So I will most definitely have bees here as long as the landowner will have me. And I'm sure they will as long as they keep getting honey. I think I forgot to mention at the beginning, today is July 26th, I believe. Yeah. So this is prime dearth time. August, some of these things are going to start blooming and making pollen, but there won't be any nectar really. Yep, end of July. It's 7:30 out here and it's 98 degrees. Wonderful. But I'll take that any day over winter. I hate the cold. I'll take 100 degrees every day. Anyways, that's all I got for y'all. Thanks for watching if y'all stayed till the very end, and hope to see y'all on the next one.